Hello there. Welcome back to the Podcasting Problem Solver. I'm your host, Leah Bryant, podcast producer, certified growth coach, and founder of Leah Bryant Co., where we help business owners launch and grow podcasts that move the needle in your business without the tech overwhelm or content burnout. So let me guess. You hit play on this episode because you're wrestling with one of the biggest questions that I get all the time. How often should I release new episodes? Weekly, bi-weekly, daily? Please, for the love of your sanity, do not do it daily. Or maybe you've been so busy running your business that you've skipped a few releases and now you're thinking, oh my gosh, my podcast is doomed. Well, guess what? I have good news for you. No, it's not. But here's the truth. Consistency does matter, just not in the way that most people think. Today, I'm breaking down how to find a release schedule that actually works for you, one that supports your business goals and your sanity, not just what the internet tells you to do. So grab your pen and paper and let's get to it. First up, let's talk about why this even matters and why everything you've heard about consistency might be a little, well, off. Ready to bust a myth right off the top? You do not need to publish every week to grow a successful podcast. What you do need is a consistent presence, so your listeners know when and where to find you, and your content becomes part of their routine. In the momentum phase of my Seamless framework, we actually focus on sustainability because podcasting shouldn't feel like a second job. It should support the work you're already doing. So now you're thinking, okay, Leah, I get it. Consistency matters. But how do I actually decide how often to release episodes? Here are the 3 most common options and how to know which one is right for you. Weekly episodes, best for podcasters building momentum fast or using the show as their primary content channel. Okay, so the pros of weekly is it builds habit and loyalty, so listeners know exactly when to expect new content, making your show part of their weekly routine. It supports SEO and content repurposing. So essentially, more episodes mean more opportunities to rank, share, and build authority. A faster data feedback loop helps you spot trends, test content, and adjust your strategy in real time. It also keeps your podcast top of mind. Showing up consistently positions you as a reliable go-to source in your niche. Now, the cons for weekly episodes is that it requires more planning and batching. You'll need a solid production workflow to keep up the pace. It can lead to burnout if you're not prepared, especially if you're also managing other business tasks. It is a higher resource demand, so more time editing, marketing, and guest coordination if this is applicable to you if you're not working with a team. Pro tip, if you do have a team or you're repurposing podcast content across platforms, weekly works beautifully. It's also great if you're building momentum for a product launch or a big initiative. Next up, we have bi-weekly episodes, which is every other week cadence. And this is really best for business owners balancing multiple channels or client work. So some pros would be that biweekly episodes are more sustainable for a solopreneur or small teams. It gives you breathing room to focus on client work, launches, or other content channels without feeling like podcasting is taking over your life. It still maintains regular engagement because listeners stay connected to your voice, your brand, and your message, even if you're not in their feed every single week. It is easier to batch and stay ahead, record and edit episodes in advance so you're not scrambling at the last minute or skipping weeks unexpectedly. Because life happens, right? It also creates space for strategy. With more time between releases, you can think about promotion, repurposing, and aligning your podcast with your bigger business goals. Now, cons. Yes, there will be cons to each one. So cons to biweekly release schedule is that it is a slower momentum in the early stages. So it might take a little longer to build that loyal listener base and consistent traffic to your podcast. You'll need to be more intentional about promotion. You'll need to remind your audience to tune in, keep them engaged between episodes. There's also a risk of losing momentum if life gets busy or hectic, but it's still easier to get back on track than with a weekly show. So a pro tip for biweekly is that this is the sweet spot for some of my clients, especially in their first 6 to 12 months when they're like getting acclimated and used to having the podcast as part of their business ecosystem. It gives them time to grow their audience while keeping podcasting sustainable and fun. That is the key piece. We want it to also be fun. Next up, we have a seasonal format. So this is great for podcasters who love to batch and promote in focused sprints, or who prefer to align their episodes with like a product launch or campaigns or key times of year. Some pros for seasonal format are flexibility to create around life and launches. So you can plan your seasons to work with your business schedule, big marketing pushes or personal commitments, like vacations and mental health breaks. Hello. That's what I'm on right now. This week is my mental health break. I take those every so often through the year. It's important. Another pro is that it's built-in time for reflection, updates, and listener feedback. So between seasons, you can review your metrics, gather audience insights, and refine your show's direction. It's also great for thematic storytelling or topic clusters. So you can group those episodes around a single theme or topic, or even like a product launch that you have to build anticipation and authority. It also creates an opportunity for intentional marketing. Like each season can have its own promotional plan, like a guest strategy or launch sequence. So now the cons for seasonal formatting is that it does require clear communication about quote unquote off-season timing. So your audience knows when to expect you back and doesn't think your show like you just vanished off the earth. Be in communication with your audience. Just let them know what's going on. So you may also lose momentum if those gaps are too long or unplanned. Again, it's important to stay visible between seasons, like with your newsletter, social media, or even like a bonus episode is really awesome. Now, seasonal formatting is harder to maintain a consistent rhythm, especially if you're also managing other projects or business commitments during this time. So a pro tip for seasonal formatting is that you want to do like a 10 episode drop and then take a breather and then come back strong. I get it. Many successful shows thrive with seasonal model. Just make sure to plan your transitions and keep your audience in that loop. Now, before you pick a schedule, let's pause for a second and think about your business model. Because real talk, your podcast needs to fit your life, not take over it. So if your business is built on high-touch services, consulting, or one-on-one work, your time is a premium asset. Your podcast schedule should match your capacity and your goals. And a question that I want you to sit and think about is, are you using the podcast to build visibility, to nurture leads, or launch a product? And then once you kind of dive into those questions, you can really figure out the right release schedule for you, because that release schedule, it isn't about the algorithm, it's about alignment. So how do you stay consistent without losing your mind or your weekends to the podcast? Well, don't worry, I've got you. First up, you're going to want to batch record when you're in flow, because energy is greater than forcing it. Yes, it is. Because your audience can tell when you're forcing your content. They can hear it in your voice. And when you're in the zone and words are flowing, just hit that record and knock out multiple episodes. It's way easier than dragging yourself to the mic every week. Trust me, your future self will thank you. And then also have a simple workflow checklist, even if it's just for you. Think of it as your podcasting GPS. A step-by-step checklist makes the process repeatable and keeps you on track, even when life, or let's be real, the tech, throws curveballs at you. One tip I love to have clients do is to create buffer episodes. So these episodes are for when you have to travel unexpectedly, we're all human, we get sick, or it's just chaotic, right? Life happens. Having 1 or 2 episodes ready to go that's more evergreen can mean that you can skip a recording that week without missing a beat or an episode. Another pro tip is that you can promote past episodes. If life happens and you just don't have it in you to get that episode out, don't skip the week. Just repurpose an older episode. You could look at your most downloaded episode. You could look at maybe something you're getting a lot of questions on and find an episode that correlates with that and then use that. You can dust them off, reshare them. You can change the title, switch up the show notes a bit, and remind your audience of the value that's already in your library. So momentum doesn't mean perfection. It means continued forward motion. Consistency isn't about flawless execution. It is about showing up even when it's messy. That's how you build trust, grow your audience, and keep your podcast moving forward. And that's what we're here after. Sustainable, real-world consistency that keeps you showing up, even on the days when your energy or schedule is less than perfect. So speaking of real talk, let me share a quick client story that'll hit home if you've ever felt like you're running on empty. One of my clients is releasing 2 episodes a month, so bi-weekly cadence. On top of running a full-time business, coaching clients, raising kids, all the things, right? But even at that pace, it started feeling unsustainable for her. She was missing episodes and feeling more overwhelmed than inspired, and her audience was missing out on her genius. So I suggested that we switch her up to once a month release and really focus on making each episode more intentional and meaningful for her audience, diving into those topics that really showed off her expertise. And you know what? That first monthly episode hit her highest download number yet. And now her show is growing, she's booked out, and podcasting feels fun again, not just another thing on her to-do list. Sometimes the smartest move isn't cranking out more. It's about creating space for quality over quantity. So there you have it, your cheat sheet to choosing a release schedule that actually works for you, your business, and your sanity. Because here's the deal. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, only the one that lets you keep showing up even when life gets messy. After listening to this, what's the right podcast release schedule for you? The answer is that it's the one that helps you show up consistently and keep moving forward. Because momentum doesn't come from perfection. It comes from staying in the game, one episode at a time. If you're ready to launch or relaunch your podcast in a way that feels as good as it sounds, go grab my seamless podcast launch roadmap and private podcast. I'll walk you through it all from concept to content to consistency. And if today's episode has you thinking or gave you much needed permission slip to slow down and focus on what really matters, hit that button and follow along for more episodes. And you know what? If you have a podcasting question that I haven't answered yet, send it my way. Click the link in the show notes and submit it. You can stay anonymous or tell me your name. You might just hear it answered in a future episode. And until next time, keep it consistent, keep it aligned, and keep it seamless. Bye for now.